Be doing the most requested video that I've get all the time. All right, so it has been 1 hour. The dough is getting a lot smoother. All right, there you go. So it's now been 2 hours. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. It's the Pizza Guy John, and today I'm going to be doing the most requested video that I've get all the time is how do you make your Polish? What's your recipe? So today I'm going to show you guys my Polish dough recipe that I use anytime that I'm making pizzas in my Ooni oven or in my home oven. It's pretty simple. Again, a Polish is just basically a pre-ferment. It's done in two parts. You got the Polish, which is the first part, which is basically just flour. You got your yeast, water, and a little bit of honey. That's it. That's the first part. Then the second day, again, is going to be your dough. So I have my recipe here, which I'm doing 4 pizzas at 50% Polish, 70% hydration. Again, I like doing that. Results in good crust, nice crispy, and just overall, I think it has a pretty good flavor. So the whole total dough recipe is going to be around 420 grams of water, 600 grams of flour. Again, you could do double zero, all-purpose, bread flour, whatever flour you have is fine. You have 18 grams of salt and 5 grams of yeast, plus also a little bit of honey. Again, that doesn't really have to be measured out, just enough to basically activate the yeast. The yeast that I'm going to be using is just inactive dry yeast. So again, you do have to activate it, which in here I have my 210 grams of water at about 105 degrees. So the water is at 105 degrees Fahrenheit, and that is basically the temperature that you want to use if you're using an active dry yeast to activate the yeast, or if you're using an instant, there's no need. You basically just put it in your flour and your water and you're good to go. If you're using a fresh yeast as well, there's no need to activate it. But again, because I am using an active dry yeast, I do have to activate it, and it's pretty simple. You go ahead and just pour the yeast in there. You then want to get just a little bit of honey, and the sugars just help with the activation as well. And you'll go ahead and just mix this to dissolve the yeast. Make sure that's all yeast is dissolved. And again, the Polish is basically, again, it's a pre-ferment. It's light, it's good for your stomach because again, it is done in 2 parts. So basically the yeast and the dough and everything has enough time to ferment, so it's not sitting in your stomach and also doing any other fermentation. So we'll go ahead and get this mixed. Again, I have my 200 grams of flour ready to go. So once I let this sit for 10 minutes to activate, then we'll come back and basically go ahead and get this mixed in with the flour, and then we'll go ahead and go over the next steps from there. All right, so it's been about 10 minutes now. As you can see, there's a foam that's built on top of the yeast, which tells me that the yeast is ready and activated. So we'll go ahead and get this poured into our flour, and again, it's 210 grams of flour. Make sure you get all that in there, and you can smell the yeast, which the yeast smells good. And basically we're just going to go ahead and get this mixed. Make sure you get all the flour. Get all the flour here. And again, it's a Polish, so it shouldn't be any thick dough. It's going to basically be almost like a pancake consistency. So we'll go ahead and make sure all this is in here. Alright, and once that's mixed in, make sure you get all the edges scraped off. And we'll scrape all this off. Alright, and basically just go ahead and get that covered. What I like to do is I always like to put a line where the dough starts. We'll let this rest with the cover kind of, not as tight on there. We'll let it rest for 1 hour at room temp, and we'll come back in 1 hour to see that it's expanded. Once that has done that, then we'll go ahead and put it in the fridge now for up to 16 to 24 hours. So we'll come back in 1 hour. All right, so it has been 1 hour now, and as you can see, here is the black line, and it has basically grown in size, so that is perfect. We'll go ahead and get this covered and put this now in the fridge for up to 16 to 24 hours. All right, so it's been about 17 hours now. We're gonna go ahead and take out the Polish. As you can see, it has doubled in size. We'll go ahead and leave this at room temp now for about 1 hour. And now it's been 1 hour. Now we're gonna go ahead and mix the rest of the ingredients. We have 210 grams of water, 390 grams of flour, and 18 grams of salt. So before we could go ahead and do anything, you wanna go ahead and mix your water into your Polish. And you could just use your hands and you're just basically kind of breaking it up. And you always want to have one hand clean so that you can go ahead and put in the rest of the ingredients. So we're just going to go ahead and get this melted down a little bit. All right. Once that's mixed down, you could go ahead now and get your flour. And we're going to go ahead and just get half of this mixed in. And just kind of get this mixed in like that. All right. And again, this is 70%, so it is going to be pretty sticky, but that's totally fine. You could always add some oil to your hands or a little bit of flour, but you don't want to add too much flour to mess up the dehydration. So once this is mixed here, then let's go ahead and let's add the salt in, and then we'll get the rest of the flour added in as well. And let's just go ahead, and don't worry about making a mess, that's totally fine. And so once this is good here, again, you just want to go ahead and get everything incorporated. And let's get the rest of this. And it's definitely a good workout as well. I used to do about 3,000 grams of flour by hand, and that was definitely a workout. All right, so once that's there, we could go ahead and put that there. Now let's go ahead and just get the rest of the flour and everything added. All right. And from here, you could go ahead and scrape off some of the flour. And this part, you just want to go ahead and knead until, again, everything is fully incorporated. Again, this part can take up to about 15 to about 20 minutes. And again, you're just pulling and stretching, pulling and stretching. And again, really stretching and pulling, kneading processes could be any way that you choose. There's really no right or wrong way as long as you're building that gluten into that dough. If you had a stand-up mixer, again, you could put that in there and give it about 10 minutes to 15 minutes in there as well. Alright, so it's been about 15 minutes of kneading. As you can see, the dough is getting a lot smoother, but we could definitely get a lot smoother. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead now and let this sit covered for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then we'll come back. Alright, so 15 minutes has passed, and as you can see, the dough has now kind of expanded out. Still a little soft, and now what we're going to do is we're basically just going to put a little oil in your hand, and we're just going to do another quick little knead. So I'll just do that, and so let's go ahead and let's get this. As you can see, the dough is pretty soft. That's totally fine. And we'll go ahead now. And again, you're just building that gluten. So just go ahead and get this. And we're just pulling this to get this tight. Alright, and with any excess oil, you could just go ahead and put it on. And we'll go ahead and let it now sit at room temp for 1 hour. And then after that, we'll go ahead and make our dough balls. Alright, so it's been about 1 hour now. As you can see, the dough is a little bit bigger. You can see some air bubbles here. So at this point, we'll go ahead now and divide our dough balls into 4. Roughly around 260 would be about a 12-inch pizza. You could do bigger. Again, that is up to you. But we'll go ahead and just show you real quick. one looks like at 260. And again, it's good to have a scale. So yeah, we'll get this, and you can smell it. It smells really good. It's about 252, so we'll go ahead and add that a little bit. 268. And you always want to keep the top on the top. And let's go ahead, 260 and a half. That's fine for me. So we'll go ahead now, and again, the whole balling technique is up to you. I like to go ahead and just kind of push in. You could also put it down on the table like that, or just kind of pull and get this tight. So I'll go ahead now and get a couple more of these dough balls put out. Again, you could put it into a tray. You could put onto a cooking sheet, whatever you have. Some people do use little containers. Whatever works for you is fine. But again, I have a box here that I could go ahead and put my dough balls in there to let them poof. And again, what you'll let them do is let them poof for about 2 hours, and then you could cook them in the oven, cook them in a stove, Ooni, Gosni, whatever type of stove that you have. So this is about 259, 260.1, fine for me. You can hear all that air. Again, just go ahead and do that. And we'll go ahead and let these sit at room temp for about 2 hours. Room temp should roughly be, a comfortable room temperature. I like to keep it around 70, 74. I feel that is perfect for these to grow in about 2 hours. So we'll come back in 2 hours, and then, all right, there you go. So it's now been 2 hours. The dough has basically doubled in size. It's also expanded a lot. So at this point, this dough is ready to be used. Again, you could use it in your home oven, your Gosni oven, or your Ooni oven, whatever oven. This pizza will come out perfect. So let me know down below what you think of this recipe. Again, I do need to give credit to the individuals that I learned this recipe from. Again, it's not my recipe, but again, I've learned how to use this recipe and used it and tweaked it so that I'm able to use it. That works perfect for me each and every time. Again, check out my Instagram at the Pizza Guy John for the pizza that I'm making with this dough tonight. Again, any questions, please let me know. But thanks again for liking and subscribing my videos, and check out more.